Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of our One Piece podcast. I've got Kyle and Luke with me again. Today we're talking about, let's see, the archipelago, Shabandi, and then we're talking about, or also talking about Lily, was it Lily, Amazon Lily?
Amazon
Amazon
Lily.
Lily.
Amazon
Yep.
Lily, and then Impel Down. Um, I thought this was like a really good, like, series of arcs. I thought they fit in together quite well. And honestly, like I think my favorite out of the three was probably Shabandi. Impel Down was like pretty integral to the story, and I think it brought up some things that we hadn't seen before. But for some reason, I just really like Shabandi. I liked exactly like the main purpose of it would seem to like be well, A, it was to split up the crew to kind of set up for Amazon Lily and Impel Down, which is something they hadn't done as serious like as seriously as this one. But also, I really liked seeing the other rookies. I thought that was really cool. And then the end of it was super cool. I thought Kuma showing up and like the Robo Kuma showing up, but then like the Robo Kumas were like intense and intimidating, but I thought real Kuma showing up was awesome and like Terminator-esque. It was super cool. What'd you guys think of these three arcs?
Yeah, Shabandi is great. I feel like Shabandi has like a lot of world building. Like we're learning a lot more about like the actual nature of the world government because Shabandi Archipelago is like basically in the shadow of Marijua, which is like the seat of power of the entire world government. So we're like introduced to like these, they're called the Ten Ryubito or like the celestial dragons, and they're basically like the nobles and like the we're kind of seeing that like the entire world government basically exists just so that these guys can get whatever they want. And they're essentially like the founder or the descendants of the founders of the original world government. And they walk around with like the tanks on their heads so they don't have to breathe the same air as commoners. They ride like human beings as horses, kind of. They basically just do whatever the fuck they want and they can kill you if you get in their way. And yeah, so like it's cool to like learn more about the world government and just how despicable it really is.
Yeah, these chapters are, some of the best of One Piece. Uh, it's seemingly like the climax of the story so far, and you really get a different it's breaking from the One Piece formula now. We were following invested in all of the Straw Hats, and to split them up now, that's really shaken up the story. And it's also kind of refreshing and kind of a new feeling to the manga now.
Yeah,
So
I thought that was a very interesting thing to do. Is like have an entire two arcs just only Luffy, and then I mean you get to see so many. I mean you get like Impel Down's great because it's only Luffy, but then it's just like like kind of
it's a
going.
reunion.
Yeah,
It's
it's
it's a
kind of going back
reunion
to
with
like a
all of these past characters,
yeah
and
the greatest hits for villains especially like Crocodile, Buggy. You get like a bunch of uh uh the what's the group called?
Baroque works, guys.
Yeah, Brokeworks. Um, and then you get new villains as well, of
and
course.
some really cool new characters too,
Yes.
like
Iva.
Ivankov is
Yeah.
is one of my favorites. The
Ivankov
Edward
is
Scissorhand guy.
yeah. Edward, that guy was super cool.
His
Uh,
power is really cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. Like the first time you see his power, it's like scissors cutting rock, and I was like, oh, that's not how it's supposed to go.
Damn,
um,
I didn't even think about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is I'm expecting him to be beaten by paper in the future, but poison was not paper. So, but yeah,
I think we should probably start at Sabaody and just kind of go from there.
yeah. I was just saying how different. But yeah, so Bodhi was awesome because kind of going back to what you were saying with like we know the Straw Hats and like we've known them for a while. What I really liked is seeing the rookies and like I hadn't really thought about like other people that might have been on their journey at the same time. It hasn't been something they've
Uh-huh.
talked about at this point. But like when they introduced them, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And like they were all super cool. Like some of the powers they show off are so cool. They have the two guys that were in them with in the theater with them. The guy that looks like the main singer of Green Day, uh, and
Who's
Kid.
that?
Was it Kid?
I think it's wait is
Kid is the
I
guy
don't
with the
know. Is it
red
the guy?
hair. The Green Day guy
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
guy with
Kid
the.
is the guy.
He's got like a white hat and like a polar bear guy. I think.
Yeah, that's Law.
Oh, okay.
Law,
Okay.
yeah, Law.
Yep.
But yeah, both those guys are super cool, and I was loving their reaction, like just seeing the Straw Hat crew, because they were I think they were the first. Well, no, I guess Zoro met the other lady, but they were the first to be like, oh shit, yeah, Luffy's kind of known for being crazy, so they're curious what he'll do. And then Luffy
Hmm.
punches the Tenryubito, and like they were just like, oh shit, that's Luffy.
Yeah,
That was super. Like just seeing people reaction to like kind of on the same level as Luffy was super cool. Just seeing their
yeah,
powers was awesome, and like they have their own crews, which is like their own version of the Straw Hats, which was awesome.
yeah. I love like talking about the scene in like the slave auction when I think that like the best introduction is when like we see like Kid kind of like talking with his crew and then like he's like, oh shit, that guy's Law, and then like we just see like Law turn around and he just flips them off. Like that was like pretty fucking epic. It
Yeah,
just like immediately sets up like the kind of like, they're all rivals, and like these are probably the first characters that Luffy and the crew is encountering that are like actually serious like rivals and contenders for like getting to the One Piece.
yeah,
Like everyone else has like kind of just laughed it off, and like they're either not concerned with it or they don't think that like it's possible. But these guys are like they're kind of set up as being, on the same level as Luffy. Like they were able to like shake up paradise as they like went through it. And yeah, it's like cool to see some kind of like rivals for Luffy, because we haven't really had many like long-term rivals for Luffy besides maybe like Kobe, but that's like a completely different kind of thing because he's a Marine as opposed to like another pirate who's also trying to potentially be the Pirate King.
yeah.
So
I think the only
yeah,
other person we've seen that has been like maybe concerned with the One Piece would be like Blackbeard, because he's like the only one that's mentioned like dream, like he's mentioned like the
yeah,
dreams and stuff like that, and like I think
yeah.
he even
I
mentions
don't
it
think
in
it's
these
explicitly mentioned.
chapters. I think he mentions it
Oh yeah,
during Impel Down. He like mentions the One Piece.
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
So he like believes in its existence and
One
stuff.
Piece, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I thought it was a great choice by Oda to give one of those supernovas a bounty higher than Luffy,
yeah,
Hmm.
because it, we've been following Luffy, and according to our perspective, he's wreaked this much havoc on the world, and now all of a sudden you're introduced to someone who seemingly has done better
yeah, and
than
Yeah.
Luffy has.
and we've seen like Luffy has had such like a crazy story, and like most recently like taking down Enies Lobby and taking down Rob Lucci, and like we saw like the impact and like how many people know who Luffy is now, and the fact that like this person has done this like more than Luffy in the same amount of time or like a similar amount of time is like
Uh-huh.
pretty crazy. So
And
um
they kind
And
of bring up the idea with Kid that like Kid is like not concerned with like collateral damage at all. Like Luffy is like, he's not like he's not heroic really, but he does like have like a sense of right and wrong, and he's not just gonna like kill people for getting in his
yeah,
way.
he's a good
Um,
person.
where whereas they kind of say that like Kid is not really doesn't have those same concerns with like morality. And like he's not afraid to do that. So it's also like it makes sense that we don't necessarily know at this point how strong Kid is. Really, the only thing that we've seen him do is like fight all of those like mooks when like the world government like Marines are attacking, and that's not really like a good sense of strength in like a shonen manga. Is like how big that how many like random fodder they can take on.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like it makes sense that like even if Kid isn't as strong as Luffy, the fact that he's willing to like do more collateral damage means that he would get a higher bounty, because in One Piece a bounty is not equivalent to a power level.
Hmm.
It's
Right.
more of just like how much of a threat you are.
A
Yeah.
threat you are to the world government. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And actually, I think it kind of sets up the theme of the whole arc of uh, Straw Hats aren't as good as they thought. They got to do better. They got to get stronger.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
big
Um,
time.
And that
so that all ties in with that.
yeah, and I think that ties in really well with the end of the arc, and then the end of the arc is definitely something somewhere I didn't see coming because like it's like they set it up very clearly like okay, I'll have your ship done in 2 days or 3 days I think, and
Hmm.
just yeah, you gotta be here then, and your ship will be all covered in this resin. And I was just like, I think somebody literally says, all right, so all we have to do is survive for 3 days, and I was like, all right, so the next arc's gonna be those 3 days and like the crazy havoc, and then like fucking Kuma shows up.
Yeah,
Dude,
like a
that
couple hours later, and just
yeah,
fucking yeah destroys them.
I love that scene. I was really liking that scene because like Kuma, we saw him in the last arc, and he completely just blipped out was it Pirione?
Perona.
Corona.
Perona.
Yeah.
And we're like, what the hell just happened to her? And then then we see the robot Kumas, and like they immediately are up, they're immediately like, yeah, these aren't the same guys, and like they're pretty strong, but they're not the same as Kuma. And we find out that they're like robots made by the same guy that's been seemingly causing trouble for the Straws for a long time. The what's his name, Doctor
Vegapunk.
Vegapunk, yeah. And then yeah, so they're fighting those guys with the one admiral and was it another Shichibukai?
So the guys that show up are
It's the
yeah.
axe
So there's the
guy,
admiral.
Vegapunk's
There's
bodyguard.
yeah. That's Sentomaru.
Yeah.
He's not a Shichibukai or anything.
No, he's
He's
just a
just a
bodyguard.
high. He's just the bodyguard for Vegapunk. But they do say that he's related to the admiral. I
Hmm.
think he's his son,
He,
nephew.
he
I
he
forget.
looks like a fat Dora the Explorer, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like, but we do see that like even like the Fat Dora the Explorer is able to kind of like wreck Luffy because Luffy is he's able to like just completely withstand so much of Luffy's attacks,
He's all
and then
about
he's
the
also
defense.
able. Yeah, exactly. And then even like the hits that he gets in on Luffy, Luffy specifically mentions, "Holy shit, I'm like really feeling these."
Yeah.
So
I
he's
like
definitely like stepping from a lot of the guys that we faced so far.
I liked how like when after Luffy hits the Tenryubito, like every single one of the rookies is like, "All right, an admiral's coming. I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Like I got a really good sense for how strong admirals are this chapter
Oh
because
yeah.
like they hadn't really covered it with they showed it with the ice guy before and like
Aokiji.
he was just on another level of course, but then we get to
Yeah.
see like one really in action this time, and yeah, they're pretty strong.
I mean, literally with the devil fruit that Kizaru has, the fucking light fruit. He
Yeah,
literally just is light. Like,
yeah.
how the fuck do you beat
You
that?
gotta have the mirror
Right.
mirror fruit.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I love Kizaru's character and his
Yeah.
fruit, everything about him. It's just so perfect. And actually, I don't know if you listen to the anime version of his voice, but
Oh, his
for
voice is
someone
great. Yeah.
for someone who has a light fruit, he talks really slow, and it's just so fitting.
I that's yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of the vibe I was getting from him. But it was really cool seeing because like he was super strong, but then we also get to see okay, really quickly, I would like to say like these 3 chapters we saw more strong, like really strong people than we had seen the entire rest of the series.
Probably. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
really crazy strong people. And the one person we also saw was the vice captain of Gold Roger's crew,
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep.
We see Rayleigh. Yeah.
Rayleigh, and he goes up against him, and like Rayleigh like kind of kind of beats his ass.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
He literally
yeah.
like he turns into light or like does his light thing, and then Rayleigh just chops him. It was
Dude, when
crazy.
Rayleigh fucking blocks his kick with his little like flip flop,
Yeah,
Holy shit, dude.
Rayleigh is
That is some
also
fucking
like
powerful
Luffy is
shit.
somebody the bartender lady literally says like, "Oh no, no, no. Rayleigh is 100 times more powerful than you, Luffy." I'm like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we get to see that. But another interesting when we see Rayleigh is he's kind of talking about, yeah, I know what the One Piece is, and
Yeah, yeah.
I
Oh my
know
god, I
all
love that
this,
scene.
and Luffy's like, please do not tell me.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta figure this on my own. This is half the adventure, is figuring it out.
Yeah, Usopp's like, oh, you know what the One Piece is? And Luffy's like, don't you dare tell me. And then Usopp's like, yeah, you're right, you're right. I suddenly have a disease, which makes it so if you told me, I will die. But yeah, we get a lot of good backstory with him and Gold Roger.
Oh yeah, like I said, so much world building. Like a lot of stuff with the world government, but then also so much stuff like Roger and like we're really seeing just how outclassed Luffy and the Straw Hats are at this point.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's definitely exciting stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, so many strong people, and yeah, just I think definitely the highlight for this chapter was the scene at the very end with Kuma blipping everyone out of existence. Like I said earlier,
Yep.
straight Terminator vibes. Like Kuma was not fucking around, sending people on trips to places they probably didn't want to go. We
Hmm.
finally get to see what happened to Perona. Like, well, I guess that might have
Yeah.
been that was in one of the side stories later or whatever. But Perona
Uh-huh.
does get sent to the place that she wanted to go, but then she's like crying, and then we also see Zoro ends up there.
Right. Right.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so he's just bitch slapping people across the globe. It seems like.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is something that you kind of had to know was inevitably going to happen.
Hmm.
Like, after the 500 chapters, there's got to be some other way to develop these characters who we've already been seeing for for 500 chapters. For the series has been going on for 10 years now.
Hmm.
So this had to happen.
Yeah. What I really love about this part is like previously we had kind of talked about how the talked about how Water 7 was kind of like a low point for the crew. It was pretty much the crew at their lowest point because of all of like the internal conflict that the crew was facing. What was like Usopp leaving and like Robin leaving and the Mary being in like damaged beyond repair. But I think that this is like the lowest point that the Straw Hats are at because of just like the not because of internal conflicts, but because of external forces that are just so overwhelmingly strong that they can't stop them. And the like one thing that like makes it so fucking clear is that like the is that the crew has always like no matter what losses they've taken, it's not like they've never been defeated before. Like Luffy's been defeated in battle, but it's just the crew has always been together, and this is the first time that the crew is like completely scattered.
Yeah.
We get the crew splits up during arcs sometimes, but that's all like on the same island. They're all just like taking different routes to get to the same goal. But here they like we're not expecting this. They're on completely different islands across the world and they have no way of like communicating with each other. So this is definitely like the new lowest point of the crew because the crew is basically like it's no longer a crew anymore. They've just been completely scattered.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I do like that we got to see another scene. We talked about like last arc in Thriller Bark, we get to see them all fighting together, and I do like that we got another scene like that when they're fighting the Kumabot.
Hmm.
Because I don't know, it's just really nice to see all that teamwork. But yeah, like you said, like immediately after that, they're all scattered, and I'm a little worried that it's gonna take a bit for them to get all back together. Because I do like seeing them as the crew. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to see how long it takes for them to get back together. I think it'll probably be after whatever um, Luffy's Luffy's got to deal with whatever's going on with Ace, and I think after that that'll be the main priority, of course. But yeah, hopefully it's not too long
Yeah, because
because
I mean
it's the crew.
some of the Straw Hats are not even on Grand Line
Yeah.
anymore. Like
Well, Luffy
I'm pretty
technically wasn't,
sure.
right? He was in the Calm Belt.
Yeah, because he was in the Calm Belt. Yeah. Um, but they're like, I'm pretty sure that like Robin is in the East Blue, Chopper is in the South Blue, So they're not even all on the Grand Line anymore. So they are literally like some of them are on opposite sides of the world. So
Yeah,
it's
it's gonna be.
Did you get to see where everyone's at?
Yeah, they showed
yeah,
with
Okay.
the side
And
stories.
we see Nami's in the sky.
Yeah, she's on like a
yeah.
mini sky island. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Which is it's kind of nice because they do mention that they have some weather shit going on there. They have
Sanji
some
Sanji's on the
yeah
transvestite island.
yeah the Okama
That
Island
was
yeah
so funny. There was a lot of
yeah
Okama stuff these few chapters, and I was laughing my ass off. It was so
Yep.
funny.
I'm here for the Okamas,
Yeah, it
Captain.
was so funny.
yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, Oda definitely like he has a soft spot in his heart for the Okama way. Ever since Mr. Tube on Clay, and now we're getting like him meeting his idol and yeah
yeah,
like
we got
Sanji going to the Okama
the
Island. It's pretty
super
great.
Okama and just like Bon Cleo is a high point in the later arc, but yeah. I think if anybody else want, we can move on to uh,
I think
the
there's one more key point to come away from Sabaody
oh yeah,
Peljo is we get the concept of the world nobles now.
yeah,
Like these are in their eyes like gods, and they don't even want to be bothered to be breathing the same air as the commoners, and the world government actually supports this system where these people are slave trading, human trafficking, you name it. Um,
hmm There's
these
definitely
these
like a
these are
lot of
some ugly motherfuckers.
yeah,
yeah they're like literal mongoloid people because they like just sit
incest.
like they don't do anything all the yeah they're probably very incestuous and they don't have to like struggle in any way, so they're just given everything. Definitely like some One Piece is letting you know what its stance on these things is, but like I think that's fine. Like I like how we're kind of getting some more kind of like political stuff, I guess, with like we get some like race relations kind of thing with like how the fishmen are treated
Yeah,
on and they're kind of treated as like subhuman, even even though they're like stronger than humans, but they're treated as like being like disgusting and that like people think that they're going to get sick when they're exposed to Hachi
yeah.
in the um in the slave auction.
I, I,
So
I I
what
forgot
do
to
you think
actually
about Hachi coming?
that yeah, that is something we should mention. Hachi coming back with Cammy, like that was a side story from a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
I was happy. Like as soon as they mentioned Cammy, I definitely didn't immediately remember who Cammy was, but as soon as she remembered the or mentions the takoyaki, and then she like mentions like later on like her octopus friend, I was like, oh hell
Yeah.
yeah, because I
Yeah,
forgot
I
she was
he,
a
love
he
I
he
love
had
mermaid.
that.
he had himself a nice comeback.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like hundreds of chapters ago for sure because that was like right after Arlong
Oh
Park
yeah,
that we
we
got
should
that.
talk about his comeback because we get to meet uh what's his name? Oh, I'm so bad with names in this because the guy with Sanji's wanted poster, that was hilarious.
Oh, Duval.
Duval.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
I was racking my brain the entire time after he mentioned like, "Oh, you know who I am." Like
Yeah.
and then I was like, "Who could it be? Who have you met for Sanji?" And I was like, "Oh, it's probably somebody like from Sanji's past." And like literally they say like, "Oh, it's probably somebody from Sanji's way past." And Duval goes, "No, no, no, it was recent." And I was like, "Okay, well, who
Yeah.
have we seen recently that Sanji's done dirty?" I was like, "Was it one of like the henchmen or something?" And it was like he takes off his mask and it's just it's just the wanted poster Sanji. Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Yeah, this is like a classic example of something that Oda, you just think it's just a joke. Like you think it's just a joke that will just, it's just for a laugh, it's just a gag. And you just get it once, and then you're like, that was a funny laugh, and then you move on. But no, it's actually a joke, but it's also a setup for a later joke, and it's just fucking great. Like I love how Oda does that. Like only Oda will like foreshadow a joke or like do the setup for a joke hundreds of chapters before the payoff, and that just makes it so much greater because you're like you basically forgot about it, and then you bring it back and you remember how funny the joke was, and then now there's more. And so
Yeah.
like when you were when Will you when you were talking about how like funny Sanji's wanted poster was, at the end of Penny's lobby, I was just, you know, like it was hard for me not to say because like it's all I could think about was Duval. It's just so fucking good.
Yeah,
Like
it's
the way that
really
it just
good.
completely recontextualizes the previous joke is great.
Yeah, I think, and then also like Duval as a character is really great because like Sanji changes his bone structure just by kicking his face a bunch, and then
He
Duval just
handsome Squidward's
yeah, he handsome Squidwards him, and then Duval just starts so funny after that because every single time somebody mentions him, he's like, "Oh, did you call me beautiful?" or "Oh, did you call me handsome?" I was every single time he did that stupid ass joke, I was just laughing.
so good.
Yeah, and then I mean Duval actually like he's like a he helps the crew out and like he's guarding their ship right now, so he said I'll guard it
He
until they
is,
get
yeah, he's
back.
guarding their ship, yeah.
Yeah, so he's a bro now. I also like the scene with Duval on his giant cow, and then he's like charging Luffy,
Yeah.
and Luffy just puts his hand on the cow, and the cow just runs away.
Yeah, that's some shit right there.
Yep. Duval and his entire
Um,
crew definitely I got a Mad Max vibe from them. They were just very they were
yeah, because they're all like leathery and like
yeah,
they're basically like a biker gang, but then with like Duval's helmet and stuff, it kind of looks like yeah, like some post-apocalyptic shit, I
except
guess.
yeah, except they're driving fish.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
see. And then I guess one other thing I want to mention from Sabaody, is it Sabaody? Yeah. Or Sabaody. The art was awesome, and I mean the art was awesome for all three, but I think the backgrounds for this area, like with all the cool trees in the background, were so
and the
cool.
bubbles
The
and
The
stuff.
trees, the bubbles,
bubbles,
yeah.
so
Yep.
cool. I was loving it.
Yeah, and it's got the good stuff when you like first get to a new island and like it has like a gimmick and then you kind of like learn about how the people there have like adapted to the gimmick. Like here we see like the we see how they have like the bubble boats like or like the bubble
Oh
like
yeah, the bikes.
rider
Yeah.
things. They're like bikes basically. And like not only do they have that, but then we also see like how the guy like tries to scam Luffy into buying one instead of renting one. And then you know that's like an opportunity for us to learn more about how the bubbles work. They can only exist in like the specific atmosphere surrounding the trees, the mangroves that like the whole island is, because it's not even an island; it's just a bunch of
Yeah.
trees. So yeah, it's like I love that like world building on like a not like a I guess it's not even really world building because it's only really relevant to this arc, but it just gives each island like its own unique flavor, and it's like so nice to like learn about all the islands.
Mhm. And I also like I don't know, I always like seeing them in like legitimate cities. Like last we guess we saw was Water 7, which was pretty recently, but I don't know, something's nice about them seeing them not on like Thriller Bark was just like them on um
Yeah, basically like a
On a
haunted house
spooky
except
boat.
for a whole island.
yeah, a big
Yeah,
spooky boat that was just them fighting pirates, and I don't know, it's just kind of nice seeing them in civilization for once. Um, Interacting with
yeah,
that and, dealing with that. It's just kind of nice.
yeah, I agree.
Trying to think other powers that we got to see that were really cool. I loved Capone's power where he just has like an entire army inside of him that like
Yeah,
expands. Like that's super creative and super cool. It reminded me of like Night at the Museum almost.
yeah.
Hmm.
um,
Do you guys want to like go through all of the supernovas? Because
is
they're
that what they're
only like
called? The supernovas?
yeah, I think they call
Yeah,
them the super.
the
Yeah,
worst generation, supernovas.
yeah, they have a
They
couple
use a
names
lot
for
of
them.
terms.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
did not catch that.
So there was 11 of them, right? So there's
Yeah,
Luffy and Zoro
I'm gonna
both
pull
count
up the
because it's
spread
anyone
really
who's
quick.
huh?
I'm gonna pull up the spread really quick so I have a picture for all these
Oh
guys.
yeah, because there is that like the cover. Um, yeah. So there's Luffy and Zoro because it's anyone. They don't have to be captains, right? Because it's just people who are over
Over
100
100
million.
million Belli, yeah.
Yeah, so there's Luffy and Zoro. Then you have Killer and Kid from the Kid Pirates. Um, we already kind of talked about him,
Which
but
one's
Kid's
Killer?
power is Killer is like
Oh, the guy with
you
the
don't really get to see
mask?
too much of him. He's the guy with the mask, and he kind of has like the spinny blades.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But he's one of he's I think that the implication is that he's kind of like Zoro is to Luffy as Killer is to Kid. He's
Hmm.
kind of like his second hand man, or at least his like strongest fighter on the crew. Um, and we don't yeah so as far as we know Killer doesn't have any powers, a devil fruit or anything, but he does have his spinny blades. Kid has like his metal powers, like he makes a giant
He's like a magnet.
metal hand. Yeah,
Right.
Because he has the
and he like
attract and
punches a
repel.
bunch
He
of
does the he repels one of the cannonballs, but then he attracts all their guns. So he's got like a
Yeah,
magnet
yeah, that was
for
pretty cool when he takes all their guns. Yeah,
yeah.
I like Kid.
He's
His
Magneto.
power is cool. Yeah. Um, and then we obviously have Law, who's got like
Law had wait hold
weird
on.
powers.
What did he do again? He like
So
took
he,
their heads or something.
I
I
don't
can't
think that
remember.
we don't really know like the details, but yeah, we see him like take their heads off, like take their bodies apart. He like switches like switches around the places of things basically
He
is
like
what we've
almost
seen
like
from so
made them
far.
like little buggies where he could like take them apart, but they were still
Yeah,
alive.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And
Um,
he has a sword, but I
yeah,
don't think he really used it. It was mostly just like everyone be like, "What the fuck is going on?" when he's like using his power.
yeah. We
So yeah,
saw
those were like the ones that we saw the most
Capone had his army, which we mentioned.
of.
There was the food lady. We didn't get to see her fight. We just saw her interact with Zoro, right?
Well, we see her like switch, like she's like an old lady once, and then she's like a kid at one point when she's talking to Zoro.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Um,
Oh,
yeah,
I must have been
because like
speed reading.
yeah, and then she also like she like turns the Marines in. Well, yeah.
Oh
So
yeah,
they
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
show
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that.
these, and
Yeah,
like some of them are like babies and some of them are old people.
yeah,
So it seems like she has some age related
yeah. I
powers,
remember that now.
and her name is Bonnie. That's her name.
Bond, Bonnie.
We'll
You
read
got
Bonnie.
the scat man Apu.
Is that
Yeah,
the wait? Is that the guy that does the piano teeth?
it's,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
got the sound. Yeah.
he was cool.
Yeah, he's like he's one of the long arm tribe people. So he's got like two elbows.
Have we seen them
And you
before?
got who?
Have we seen the long arm tribe before?
I think that was the first time that we've
Uh,
seen him, but they were also on the when they show like the sheet of like all of the different races and like what they usually sell for at the auction. We
Oh,
see like long arm tribe and we see
gotcha.
long leg tribe.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that they are mentioned again when we like see where Brooke is.
hmm
Uh, yeah, because I
Uh,
think that by a long
we
people.
saw the guy with the cool eyebrows, the blonde guy. Uh,
oh, with the tarot cards.
Yeah,
yeah, he was super cool.
Hawkins.
Hawkins,
He's
yeah.
like, I'm not gonna die right now. I don't have to worry
He
about
was like, he did like a probability analysis, and it was just like,
it.
chance of death right now, 0%. But yeah, he had a really cool power, and he like turned himself into hair at one point, I think,
Yeah, he has like it
I
like
think
he
it's
was like about to
straw.
die.
or straw.
Yeah, he was like about to die and then he like didn't die. And then like there's a panel where they show like two random dudes who are just like, "Oh my God, I'm dead."
Yeah.
And yeah, so it seems like he has some sort of weird power that allows him to avoid death.
hmm
He's got the voodoo. He's got hoodoo. He got things he ain't even tried.
Hopefully, he doesn't have any friends on the other side. Um, and then we saw the big guy who the vibe that I got from him was like Luke, you haven't seen Fire Force, but Kyle, the guy in Fire Force that like just absorbs all damage. That's the
Uh-huh.
kind of vibe that I was getting from him. Like he just like he got beat up for so long and then he just like grew really big. Like
Yeah.
he had absorbed all that damage that he had taken. That's the kind of vibe I got from
hmm
him. Um,
Yeah, he's like and he's also got wings, so kind of connection to Skypiea or another Sky Island maybe.
yeah. And then there was the guy with the hat. Was he another captain or was he?
What? Let me think. What hat?
The guy with the
I,
hat.
I've got the spread pulled up, which is why I'm saying it.
Are you
I'll put
talking
it in the
about
chat.
Drake?
Drake, yeah. X
Okay.
Yeah.
Drake, that was his name.
Okay, yeah. So they they like it's really weird because they spell his name X Drake, but like they pronounce it like DA's Drake, like 10, but like Spanish for 10, so Diez.
Oh,
But yeah, so he can turn into a fucking dinosaur, which is,
that
I don't
was
know, kind of
super
cool.
cool. They were just like the as soon as they said like prehistoric
Oh,
Logia
yeah.
or whatever it was,
Prehistoric Zoan.
Zoan, I
Yeah.
was like, oh
Ancient Zoan.
shit,
I think it was ancient type Zoan.
yeah,
Yeah.
ancient Zoan. I was like, dinosaur, fuck yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
because we've seen dinosaurs before. So
uh
on
on the
on the giant island.
Little Garden. Yeah.
Yeah, Little Garden, we saw dinosaurs, so
Oh,
Cool. To,
also shout out to one of Law's crewmates, Beppo, the talking bear.
the polar bear, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was super cool. What did he
Yep.
fought for a bit.
he
I,
did. He had like some karate or something.
yeah, he had like a sword, but then he just went, you started using karate. I was kind of confused. um, yeah,
I think that's all of them.
all of them were really cool, and I'm excited to see more of them in the future.
I kind of get the impression that like literally any of any of these captains like could be the main character of an alternate universe One Piece,
That's
you
the
know?
best part.
Like yeah, like they're all like they all seem like they're, I mean, obviously they were strong enough to get here. And they're presented as basically being on the same level as Luffy. So like I would literally read One Piece with any of these guys as the main character. I feel like it would definitely be
Yeah.
different, but it'd be cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
Because they all got cool powers and stuff.
the assumption that I had was like, well, Luffy had his own thing with Crocodile and like all these arcs beforehand, like so each one of these people have had like the same quality of arcs before this now. If
Hmm.
they got here and they were also as strong, unless they were just like beating up wimps the entire time. I
Yeah,
don't
well,
know.
they probably wouldn't have gotten such a high bounty if they were just beating up
Yeah,
wimps.
exactly. So
Yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, crew
And then
gets scattered, and then we move on
do
to
we want to?
Amazon
We've
Lily.
already kind of mentioned where Zoro and Nami went.
Yeah.
Um, we see and Sanji, obviously. Um, which ones did we not talk about? Usopp goes to like a plant island where there's a bunch of bugs and stuff,
Mhm.
and it seems like there's this friendly dude there who's got some techniques that he might want to show Usopp,
Mhm.
like some plant techniques, which is kind of interesting.
um,
And then Chopper, where did Chopper go again? He went.
He's on like some kind of
it's like,
bird island.
wasn't it? Wait, who's on
Oh
the
yeah, the
ice island?
birds rule, and like all of the the like kind of pygmy humans are like scared and like they live in the fear of the birds constantly.
Wait, is that the one where he goes on
Yeah.
the
So
giant tree? Is that the giant
yeah,
tree?
there's like a big nest at like the top of like the island. I
Yeah.
think it's on top of it. Um, yeah,
Who's in the
so that
frozen
one's
island?
uh oh, Frankie, the
Frankie.
Yep.
frozen island where there's like all of like the cyborg stuff,
Yeah.
and then at the end they reveal that like this is where Vegapunk's home was.
Mhm.
So getting some Vegapunk shit, kind of
Which is
interesting.
perfect for Frankie.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of interesting. And then Robin
Robin.
is
She was like on a prison
Kilo.
camp.
She's
Yeah,
with like the revolutionaries.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah. They
like
were revolutionaries.
because it was the world government that was basically forcing a bunch of people who were prisoners to like build a bridge like connecting two islands, and then the revolutionaries showed up in like the at the end. Um,
Mhm.
so she might be connected with them now. And then Brooke got like he like got basically summoned by this
Yeah.
satanic cult who were they were in the middle of like trying to summon Satan, and then Brooke just shows up, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're Satan! Like it must be you." And so he basically like they're all just gonna do whatever he says now
What
because
do you
he's Satan.
want from us? Do you want another sacrifice? Show me your panties. That was
Classic
hilarious.
Brooke. Yeah. So the Straw Hats are all in some interesting and varied locales. So
Yes.
And we've got Luffy finding himself on the all-woman planet of Amazon Lily.
Oh yeah.
yes.
He's almost got death by a snoo. But
He
yeah.
almost got his dick yanked off.
Yeah. Jesus, the mushroom that won't come off. Oh
It's a good
jeez.
thing that he's made of rubber because he probably
Yeah.
would have been in a lot more pain if he wasn't.
Yep. But yeah, we're introduced to a few interesting characters. Like there's like the previous queen, the old lady, Margaret. There's like a few that he like saves. They get petrified for saving him. Um, but yeah, most importantly, you get Boa Hancock and her sisters, another Shichibukai, and we find out that they were like um, ex-slaves, I guess, that were forced to
Hmm.
eat the snake fruits, right?
Yep.
Well, we
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah,
We
they
don't
they
know
were
if.
slaves. They were slaves to some nobles. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know anything about if um, Boa Hancock has devil fruit. Do we? I don't think she
No, she
does.
does.
Did
She
she?
has the Horo Horo no Mi, because she's able to like turn those dudes that love her into stone.
Oh, okay. That was a devil fruit. Okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the other two are just like straight up snake fruits.
yeah. One of
Yeah.
them is like an anaconda, and I think the other one is like a python. No, one of
King
them's a king
Cobra.
cobra,
Yeah,
and I think the other one might be either a python or an
it was an
anaconda.
anaconda. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, so they all have scary tattoos on their back, which was um,
yeah, and we get
we
some
learn
world
about,
building with that too.
yeah, because Hachi has his own tattoo,
Hmm.
and that's all
And we,
that's goes back to the Tenryubito. That's like the mark of slaves for them, and that one was turned into a sun, and I guess they said like not everyone that has the sun was a slave because they like paint them on now, or
yeah, so like the deal was like, they're all slaves in Marie-Joie, which is like the capital, the seat of the world government's power. And but then this guy named Fisher Tiger came along, and he basically like was like the only person to successfully attack Marie-Joie like ever, basically, or at least that we know of. And so he like freed a bunch of the slaves and started his like pirate crew called like the Sun Pirates. And yeah, so basically what he would do for all the freed slaves that joined his Sun Pirates is he would replace their like dragon hoof tattoo, which is a symbol of like you are property of the Tenryubito, with like a sun tattoo. And then even the people that he would recruit to join his crew that weren't slaves, he would give them that same tattoo so that you couldn't tell who was a slave and who wasn't. So
yeah,
he seems like a pretty cool guy.
seems like a pretty cool guy. And then yeah, so they all have their tattoo's different though, right? It's like eyes or something.
Yeah, so theirs is because they didn't join the Sun Pirates, so they still have the hoof. It's
Oh,
like
it's a
still,
hoof. Okay.
yeah, and they are hiding it from the rest of the. They basically tell the rest of the island that it's like the Gorgon's eye,
Yeah, the curse.
just because they don't want them to know that they were once slaves, because that would
Mm,
be a source of shame, especially for like the literal queen of the island,
yeah,
the pirate empress,
yeah,
um, to be a slave or a former slave.
yeah. This
And
was a
yeah,
pretty short arc, but it was nice because we get to
yeah,
see like Hancock's got a lot of cool powers, like her obviously her petrification power, but then she also has like this alluring charm that she can basically charm literally anybody into doing something for her.
because she is canonically the most beautiful woman.
Yeah,
So
so she does that, but she can't charm Luffy, which makes her fall for Luffy, or
uh-huh.
like I don't know, fully fall, but like
Oh,
she
she's fully fell.
okay, she's pretty
Yes.
attracted to Luffy just because Luffy's not a simp for her.
Yeah.
um,
She's obsessed with Luffy.
yeah,
Yes.
and so yeah, so pretty short. We get to see Luffy fight the two sisters, and he shows off his own charm kind of thing, his hockey, which is something they mention. Uh,
Yes, the hockey.
did they mention that the last arc? Somebody
This was,
mentioned
yeah, they
hockey in
mentioned
one of these three arcs besides the
Rayleigh mentioned hockey. I
Rayleigh
think that was like
mentioned
the
it. Yeah,
first time
yeah.
that it was mentioned,
I think
or
somebody
yeah,
has
that it was
mentioned it before. Um,
yeah. We'll see. Okay, it's kind of tricky because like hockey is literally just the Japanese word for willpower, I believe.
okay.
So it's like it's kind of unclear as to like at what point hockey became because I think it was they previously said like, oh, like that's some impressive hockey you got there, but like that could literally like it would make just as much sense if they were saying like your willpower is impressive.
Yeah,
um and I think yeah, so I remember the context, but I don't know if it would be right for me to say it just because like it might be kind of spoilery about hockey. um so just because like I don't know, it's weird because like I don't like personally, I think that like hockey was like probably not conceptualized until like about now. Like I think that now this is like the first time that hockey seems to be treated as like a mechanic, you
yeah,
know, and like actually as like a new type of power that Luffy can get. Um, so yeah, but it's definitely here and real now
yeah,
because they start talking about how like the arrows that they shoot on Amazon Lily like have hockey in them and that makes them stronger.
Mhm.
And they mentioned Luffy's specific hockey that he uses to kind of like stop everyone from freaking out in the crowd and like make some of them pass out and stuff.
Yeah. What was it called? It was like
So
Commander's Hockey or something like that.
Conqueror's Hockey.
Conquerors.
Conqueror's Hockey.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what the hockey is what gives isn't that what gives Hancock her charm as well? Isn't that considered hockey?
Probably.
I
I
don't
think
think that her charm
I
is.
thought
I think that her
that's what it
charm is just
was.
like, I don't know. I think, well, she definitely has hockey, but I don't think that she has. I think that her charm is literally just because she's so beautiful.
Really?
Like
Okay.
she is canonically the most beautiful person in the One Piece universe. So like, literally everybody falls in love with her, which makes them like,
It's like everyone gets the Sanji nerf.
yeah, exactly. Because basically, like, we kind of see that like her power is dependent on like her being able to like make things fall in love with her. Because like that one guy, the vice admiral who was trying to make her come to the report to battle, because they're calling in all the Shichibukai
hmm
for Ace's execution. Like he was able to like not get turned to stone because he like stabbed himself in the hand.
Yeah, that was pretty
So
hardcore.
like yeah, yeah,
um,
definitely. And that guy's shown up before in the past, I think. I think he was there at Water, or I mean at Enies Lobby. Um, yeah, because he's a vice admiral, so he would have been like the right rank to show up.
Hmm.
hmm but yeah, so we get to see him his Conqueror's hockey, and then uh, get some backstory with that we mentioned earlier with Hancock and her sisters, and then yeah, she falls for him and sends helps him get off to Impel Down, unless there's anything else I'm missing. I think there's
I like Sandersonia.
is that the tall
She's
lady,
no, she's one of the sisters. She's the one with the really wide head and the green hair.
the skinny
I
one?
Okay.
think she's but cute. I don't know. I like her.
Wait, you prefer the snake form or the human form?
Probably the human. I mean, I don't know. They're both good.
Kyle says, "What that mouth do?"
That fork
I
tongue.
will
I'm sure it
say
can do things.
I will say it was refreshing to see some different uh like girl characters because
Yes.
Oda tends to just redraw Nami for every new
Yeah,
female character. So
I
Exactly.
it's some different designs, you
maybe
know.
maybe that was something. Maybe he was getting so much criticism for redrawing Nami all the time. He was like, you know what? I'm gonna make an arc entirely composed of women, just so you guys will shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
all have like, good and like interesting designs. That's like why, I mean, there are a lot of like pretty girls in One Piece, but so many of them are Nami. Like they're just Nami, but like with a different hair color or something, or
Yeah,
like
Right.
different.
like what's her face
So it's
from
like,
the CP9
uh,
Khalifa.
Khalifa? Yeah,
yeah, Khalifa's kind of different, I would
Yeah.
she
say.
has
I will
glasses.
say
Yeah, you're right. She has
she has
glasses.
glasses. Yeah. And like Perona's different. I like Perona's like eyes. Like she has
Frodo's
like
got the
different
eyes.
eyes
Yeah.
with um. So there are some that are different, but like Vivi is Nami, but with a different face or with a different
Right.
hair. So yeah, I mean, I like the girls in One Piece that are different. Like Robin is definitely not Nami because she has like different eyes. Her nose
She
is
got that
different.
long ass nose.
Yeah. So yeah, I
Not quite
appreciate
Usopp, but yeah.
I appreciate the characters in One Piece um that are girls and are not Nami, and especially if they've got like a little, you know, weird devil fruit
Snake
like
Devil Fruit.
seriously, she got the snake. She's a monster girl. I appreciate it.
um,
That's pretty much it for Impel Down, I think, right?
for you mean Lily, Amazon
Or
Lily?
For
yeah, no, sorry,
Amazon Lily. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just kind of a middle arc, like,
Get to introduce Hancock.
yeah,
yeah.
pretty
Um,
much.
So let's think. Do we know all the Shichibukai now? I think
yeah, we
we
do.
probably do.
hmm
That was the last one because we know.
Well, no, because we we
Um,
we find one in Impel Down if we're not.
that's true. Yeah, that's true. But
Um,
if you're big brain and you remember, they were actually named this was the first name Shichibukai. Actually, I'm pretty sure.
really,
Was Yeah. Like Johnny and Yosaku mention him, I think, or maybe Mihawk was named first.
yeah, I
But
was gonna say Mihawk might be first, but then I was also thinking like he was a fishman and like Arlong Park was really early, and I could not remember if he was named during Arlong Park because like that was our first
they
introduction to
mention,
fishmen. So
yeah, they kind of mentioned that like that they say something about Jinbei like releasing Arlong into the East Blue or something along
Yeah,
those
that make
lines. But like
that rings a bell.
he is responsible for Arlong being in the East Blue in the first place. So
Hmm.
yeah, but that was like way before like that was so Jinbei was the second named Shichibukai, which is kind
Yeah.
of or yeah I don't remember if he was the first or the second. I forget if they like name him before they get to Baratie or not, but either way, still very early. That's like a like 500 chapter foreshadow, I guess. So,
Yeah.
congrats Oda.
It would have to be
You did it.
before, wouldn't it have to be before Barate or after Barate? Because Barate was when they got Sandria, and Sandria's with them at Arlong Park. So anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, yeah, okay,
It doesn't
whatever.
matter.
Yeah. Either way,
It's been a
big brain
long time
Oda.
coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, so Impel down.
Impel Down was
Uh,
really hype.
yes, it
It
was
was. I was
the
worried.
jailbreak arc.
I was really worried that it was going to be very similar to Enies Lobby, just because they're both prisons, and
Hmm.
but I mean
Well, Enies Lobby is like is like the
or it's the judgment
court.
place, but like
Yeah,
it's kind
yeah,
of similar. Like it's like
yeah,
people
and
go
it's
there
like
and they
it's
never come
similar in
back.
that the
Yeah.
enemy is the world government itself.
Yeah,
But I think that
and
it
it's the court
definitely
system.
feels very different.
Oh yeah, I mean the biggest thing that feels different is that it's only Luffy from the crew.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then of course like we mentioned earlier, it's like a greatest hits of villains coming back or like previous people that we've seen coming back,
Hmm.
which is awesome. And I think it works so well as they move down the levels, like introducing more and more people because like it's cool because you get to see like what levels each of the people that they've met before on. So you get like
Hmm.
Mr. 3 and Buggy are on level 2, I think. Um,
Yeah, so Buggy I think was on level 1 and then Mr. 3 was on level 2.
yeah, and
Like
Buggy,
Right.
cuz yeah, I'm pretty
He
sure there's like
found
one
Buggy
on
first.
each.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Buggy's got the glow up. Buggy looks not fat.
Yeah, with the long hair Buggy. The long hair Buggy is
Well,
pretty
I
sick.
think
Yeah.
that besides the long hair, he's not fat, and he's got like a jawline and stuff now,
Kind of
and
a
Yeah.
Chad.
he's
Yeah.
jacked. Yeah, Chad Buggy now. But yeah,
I I do want to bring up. I thought it worked really well the way he brought in these characters because it could have gotten into like fan fiction. You know, it could have been really
Yeah.
dumb, really quick.
for sure. Yeah.
But he gives the time to give these characters how they ended up in the prison and their motives and how it aligns with Luffy's motives. And although Luffy for most of them is the reason they are in the prison, they're able to work together for a common goal now.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, and we actually kind of see like how at least the Baroque Works guys
Yeah.
got into
Yeah. Yeah.
prison through the cover arc where they're all like we see kind of like the Baroque Works people getting into shenanigans, and then we like specifically made note of the fact that like Mr. 3, Mr. 2, Mr. 1, and Crocodile were all captured by the world government,
Hmm.
and it makes sense that they'd be in Impel Down because Impel Down is like the highest security prison. So yeah, it adds up.
Yeah.
And for Buggy, I think that the last we saw of him was like he was like trying to find some treasure, and he like accidentally ended up in like a mine or something, and I think that's how he got caught.
Didn't we?
So it make
I'm trying to think of the last time we saw Buggy. Wasn't it? It wasn't. It was like after Logtown. Didn't he have a cover story? Or maybe it was before Logtown. He had a cover story.
he did, but I think we saw him like for like a page after that or something,
Okay.
where he's like, yeah, he's like doing. Yeah, he's like trying to find treasure. He was like looking for, I think, Captain John's treasure.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the armband
and
that
I'm
Luffy
pretty
has on.
Yeah, and Captain John was actually like a zombie on Thriller Bark as well.
Oh, really?
You know,
I didn't know that.
yeah, kind of, yeah. So, yeah, so I think it was like, like he was looking for it, but then instead of like digging and finding treasure, he found like a mine that was being run by the world government or something, and they were just like, oh, you're Buggy, and they just captured him. So,
Yeah. Um,
rip Buggy, but
yeah,
yeah,
so I
he's
guess
better now.
before that, like he sneaks in uh
Hancock.
with Hancock,
Mhm.
and we get introduced to just one of the wardens, right? Just the vice warden.
Hannibal, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hannibal. Who's he's kind of like he seemed like comic relief the entire time. His goal is to become the warden, and to do anything to become that. He's trying to make the current warden look incompetent, to no avail though. And then yeah, so we get to meet those two on level 1 and 2. Level 3 we meet Mr. Two, right?
Yep.
And
And yeah, so the
is that
first level is pretty standard prison stuff. They have like these, they call them like blue gories. They're blue gorillas that are
yeah.
basically just running around. They're kind of like the guards on that level. And so they make a big deal when like Luffy's going in. Hancock is like, look, like you got to be stealthy. Like the world government is like serious shit. You know, this prison is like fucking. You won't be able to escape if you get found. And so like on the first level, when he runs into Buggy, they basically immediately alert everyone to where they are, and stealth just immediately goes out the window. Of course, because Luffy was never going to be able to succeed on a stealth mission. There was no way. So it
True.
was like honestly a miracle that he even agreed to that. So yeah, new plan, and it's just cause as much trouble as possible.
Yeah, so he beats the Blue Warrior's ass. Level 2 is it the animal, like the beasts, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's the beast floor. There's like all of there's like the manticores, and yeah, some like weird
That
genetic
that bull
monstrosities.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the Minotaur.
Um,
Yeah,
Level
Yep.
3 is all about starvation, I think, or drought. It was like drought.
yeah, yeah. It's like yeah, the starvation hell where there's yeah, it's basically like a desert and there's no food.
Yeah. So
It's
Mr.
kind of a
Mr.
miracle
3
that
is
people
like
survive.
useless there, and he's useless on floor 4 as well, because his candle stuff just immediately melts.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, we get so yeah, Mr. 2, Bon Clay. He's a big shining point in this chapter. I loved everything they did
Oh
with him.
yeah.
Like he gets so many good moments in this chapter. Like him and Luffy. I forgot how I forgot how like close he was with Luffy. Like he's like, what does he call him? Straw Chan or Loof Chan,
Yeah.
something like
Yep.
that.
Straw chance.
Straw Chan, and then Luffy calls him Bon Chan. Um, and
It's
yeah,
so
I
cute.
love their bromance in this chapter. It was like a really great return to that. Um, they
It's so good because like it makes sense. Like Luffy is like, he'll be friends with anyone really. Like he is just, that kind of person. But it's like rare that another person like that exists. But like Bon Clay is like he is like perfectly matching him on that front.
yeah,
Bon Clay is all about like how pure and like how friendship is the most important thing in the world.
it's all about the
And he's
Okama
like,
way.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like he's the one who's like always talking about all of these like friendship ideals that Luffy just sort of like instinctively like does.
Hmm.
So it's like they're a good match. They're not like the same character, but they like have the same values and they kind of like go about it in a different way. And it's fucking great. They're like yeah, it's really fun to see them. Oh my god! And when fucking the lengths that Bon Clay goes to in order to get Luffy back and like
Yeah.
to heal him and shit. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
the scene with
So
Bon Clay like just screaming for Luffy to stay alive when he's in the Okama like
oh my
sanctuary,
god, dude.
and
Yeah.
then like everyone
Yeah.
starts joining him, like that was awesome. Just like so much, so great. Like it makes me like Bon Clay so much more. Not that I disliked him
Yeah.
before, it's just
He shines through
big
in this
time,
arc. Yep.
big time. Which is a lot to say for like so many characters returning. Like he was the one that shined through the most, for me at
Yeah.
least.
least. I
Rather than
think
like Crocodile or something.
Crocodile or Buggy,
Um,
yeah, that would probably be the other two big ones.
yeah.
Um,
Bon Clay's awesome.
Bon
This is like
Clay.
this honestly is the Bon Clay arc. Like he really steals the show
I
for
mean,
sure.
yeah, like when his goal is to like when like Okamas are like so heavily featured and like we get like
Uh-huh.
one of another really cool Okama character with Iva, uh, Ivankov. Like it was perfect for Bon Clay. He gets to meet Luffy. He gets to meet his idol. Gets to break out of
Yeah.
prison. And then he has a really great moment at the very end of the chapter where he gives his I don't know if he
Oh my
dies,
god.
but he gives himself up to get everyone away.
His sacrifice.
Yeah, his sacrifice.
So fucking good. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Let's see, and then floor 4. I don't know if I'm not sure
Four was
exactly.
just like the literal like it's just
It's just
fire. Like
fire. Yeah.
there's like a huge pot of like lava in the middle and it's just like really hot everywhere. It's like Yeah, it's like the burning hell, I think is
Yeah.
what they call it.
Is
Yeah.
is is that our fight with Magellan?
Yeah, that's when Magellan shows up and Luffy gets completely bodied by him
Yeah.
because Luffy punches people and Magellan, he's not a Logia, he's like a paramecia, but he covers his body with poison and he just can't be touched because it basically like Luffy tries to hit him and he like infects him with this poison. It's like a extremely potent neurotoxin that like gives is like the most painful shit in the world, and you'll die in like I don't know like a couple hours or something after getting it. Um, so yeah, Luffy is basically like KO'd. He gets beat by Magellan.
I was really liking Magellan just because like Impel Down is the best prison or like the highest prison in the land, and I was like, okay, the Warden's got to be really fucking strong, and like
Yeah.
Magellan didn't disappoint. Like I don't think anybody
He's
beat
no joke.
nobody.
He's no joke. He walked around the entire arc and everyone just runs away from
Yeah,
him.
nobody beat him or like got close to beating him. I guess Luffy kind of helped, kind of like got some hits on him, but nobody even came close to
Yeah.
beating Magellan the entire arc.
Yeah.
And Luffy wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for Mr. Three.
Yeah, exactly. And
He
even then,
couldn't have hit
like
him on his own. Yeah.
Magellan like turned the switch up and like he turned it like the super poison and like, oh well, that's useless.
Yeah.
Sorry, bud, you're done. So
It's one
like,
of
He's
those
he's
like
no joke.
situations, yeah, where like uh Magellan himself, like as a person,
Battery
he's
low.
not that intimidating, but his devil fruit is insanely strong.
hmm
And it's not even like it really requires that much effort on his part. It's just like he just covers himself in poison and it's like you can't hit him, like maybe there are certain devil fruits that could beat him just because they don't require like you'd actually touch the person. But for anyone who's like needs to touch like Luffy does, like how he needs to punch, like Magellan kind of just negates those. So
I like how he had the comment when Mr. Three first did his wax wall. Um, like Magellan just straight up had a comment like, "Funny how fruits interact" or something like that. And I was just like,
yeah,
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 it's
because
like,
that is like kind of like
yeah,
this is like one of the most interesting interactions. I mean, just because it's like a hard counter to Luffy, and like we haven't really gotten that apart from like I guess like Crocodile, but that's just like it's less it's just because he's a Logia. Like he had the same hard counter with like Smoker, I guess, and it's not as like it's more impactful here because it's not a Logia.
hmm
It's like another Paramecia, and it's just yeah, and it's not only that Luffy can't hit him, it's that in trying to hit him, he completely like puts himself out of commission.
hmm
So yeah, it's pretty fun.
I also kind of like the dynamic of um Magellan and Luffy's quarrel because it's not so much that Magellan has anything wrong with Luffy or Luffy has anything wrong with Magellan. It's just that Magellan is the warden of the prison, and he's kind of got his own little justice he wants to uphold,
hmm
and it
Hmm.
just so happens Luffy's in the way. It's not like there's no other motive behind this fight.
Yeah,
yeah. Warden
it's
Magellan
not
says,
personal for either of them. It's more
Right,
just that they're in the way of something that is personal.
yeah.
right.
Warden Magellan says, what we have here is a failure to communicate, and then he beats Luffy's ass. um, Yeah, it was awesome. I'm trying to think other prison guards. None of them were like super impressive. They had interesting powers, I guess. There was like the one Sadie, like the sadistic
Sadie
lady.
Chan.
Yeah, she was like
Yeah.
masochist, sadist type of thing, but her powers
Uh-huh.
didn't seem that great. And then there was the guy that was in charge of the Blue Gories. He was kind of whatever. And then the
Yeah.
Vice Warden was kind of, like I said earlier, kind of comic relief. And I guess the one guy we could say would be the guy on level 6 who was the ex
Oh
head
yeah,
guard.
Shirulu, I think
Yeah,
is his
he
name.
seems pretty spooky, and he joins Blackbeard's
Yeah,
crew at the end.
he
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
um,
Because he was just like killing prisoners like
yeah,
for
like a
fun.
prisoner would act up and he just killed a prisoner.
Yeah, but John's like, okay, you can't do that. Like, this is the toughest prison in the world, but you can't just be killing people that
But
aren't
that
on
also
death
means
row.
like Magellan's strong enough to put him in prison. Unless they,
That's
they
true.
they hired or not hired, they got like the Marines to come and help. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe like his poison can like corrode his sword because he seems to be a swordsman.
Hmm.
He's doing the cutting and stuff. So maybe he just can't slice him
Yeah.
because yeah, Magellan does have a fruit that counters a lot of people.
Yep. Um,
Um, yeah.
what other? I feel like there was one other guard. Maybe not. I don't
I
know.
think we talked.
Yeah. And then let's see. Level five. We didn't. Nobody else is on level five besides level. All the people are on level six, right? Like Crocodile and everybody.
Yeah. Yeah,
Level.
level 5 was like the freezing hell where they find the entrance to level 5.5,
Yeah. Level five and
which
a
is
half
where
is
all
where
the
everything.
Okamas are.
Yep. That's where all the
Yeah.
Oh,
commas are.
I remember that level being very like emotional. I like with
The
Bone Clay getting attacked by the wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like fending off the wolves. Oh my God, yeah. Like
His head
Uh,
and he's
bit.
like dragging Luffy through the snow and shit.
And
So
then like
good.
they're about to like it looked like at one point Bon Clay was like going down, and then Luffy wakes up and beats the wolf's ass, just for a brief moment.
Yeah.
And then yeah, they get pulled into level
And
five
then
and a
he
half.
gets taken to 5.5
Yep, and we meet
by
Ivankov,
Magellan.
who is we learn is ex dragon. He was
Oh,
Dragon's right hand man slash woman.
yeah.
Dra-
Yeah. He was on he was basically the king of or the queen of the like Okama kingdom. Um, and yeah, he's a revolutionary supporter. He was like one of his generals or something. We don't really know that much about like the organizational structure of the revolutionaries at this point.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
But definitely a
we
big
also know that
history
like
with him.
yeah, he like he like has a little bit of a flashback to like talking to um Dragon because Luffy is like, "Oh, Dragon, my dad." And he's like, "What?" Well, actually at first he's like, "Oh yeah, like your dad." And then he's like, "Wait, what? Your dad?" And that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm from the East Blue or whatever." And like Dragon's my dad. And Ivankov remembers, "Oh yeah, I remember Dragon would always like he like remembers remarking to Dragon, "Oh, whenever you like look off uh just into the distance when you're thinking, you always look to the east." And he's like, "Oh, do I?" And he's like, "I wonder if like, that's your home or something." And Dragon just doesn't say anything because he's the most mysterious guy in the series. So, but he's like, "Oh, he's from the East Blue. That checks out. I was probably right. That probably is where Dragon's from."
Mhm.
So, we he believes him that the dragon's his father, and he's also like Luffy does not seem like the kind of guy who would lie about that, and he's right. Luffy just would not lie about that kind of shit.
Mhm.
So
But then it also gives him
he
motivation to help because like he's a good friend of Dragons, and he realizes he puts the dots together that Luffy's going to save his brother, Ace. Luffy's going to save Ace. Ace is Luffy's brother, and Luffy is Dragon's son, which means Ace is also Dragon's son.
yeah,
So
good math.
time to help Luffy because
Yeah,
Ivankov is a friend of Dragon, so friend of
yeah.
Dragon is a friend of Ivankov, so yeah,
he's
gets.
also got another great laugh.
Oh, what's his
He
what's
goes hee haw,
Yeah, yeah, he does.
hee
Yeah,
haw.
his voice is pretty good in the
I
anime.
was liking whenever it was like more towards the beginning of when Ivankov was introduced, but it was kind of like a similar vibe from Brook where he would just like say something down and like oh no I'm not able to do that, and they're like oh you're not, and he was like I am, or something, like he would like turn
Yeah,
around and say like something completely contradictory or something like that. um
yeah,
yeah,
he's
definitely
got the
Ivankov is
jokes.
a good introduction to a character, and a character I'm looking forward to seeing more of. um
Yeah, and this is like really I mean, we've seen Dragon before, but
yeah.
we haven't really seen like this is like he just appeared and left, and then only later did we find out is like what the deal was with the I mean, we found that he was connected with this thing called the Revolutionary Army that we don't know anything about, other than they oppose the world government, presumably. Um, and this is like really the first other revolutionary that we've seen.
Well,
Um,
Nico Robin was on her island.
yeah, that's true, but like that was for like a couple pages. This
Not
is the
even.
first real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
um
exactly.
yeah.
So, yeah, but before Luffy could even have that conversation, he has to get healed by Ivankov, and he's basically like, because he's KO'd when they get there, and he's gonna die soon because of Magellan's poison. And
Vankov's
so
got the
Ivanka pumps
hormones
him with the
powers.
tension hormones,
Yeah, the tension hormones. I need some of those.
and he's in a lot of pain. He's basically just screaming in this dark room, and he's like, you know what? He will either die now or he'll live, and he
And he
lives.
lives.
But
Thank God.
he lives. He gets through it in a lot less time. They were like surprised that he got through it in so much less time, and they're
And
like, you know what? Maybe it's because Bon Clay was shouting for you, Luffy,
and then
and
he says
they're probably
food. I
yeah,
need food. And he like eats
and
all their food.
yeah,
Yep. And then they break down to level 6. They
yeah. They also mentioned that 5.5 was made by this guy with a digging devil fruit.
oh yeah, 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 they
That's
do.
all.
Oh yeah, I guess we haven't talked about like we get like some Ace scenes this entire time. Ace has been down in there with Jinbei, who's still a current Chichibukai somehow, even though he's in
Yeah,
prison. Um, just kind of weird because they were pretty quick to revoke Crocodile Chichibukai and
yeah,
also uh, what's his face is still a Chichibukai, the spooky guy.
yeah. Gecko Moria is still a
Yeah,
Shichibukai.
Gecko Moria
Yeah,
is still a Shichibukai, even though he got his ass beat. I mean, he didn't do anything to oppose the world government, but still.
yeah.
And
I
so
think they're
Well,
it's
kind of their thinking is like we can only replace them so fast, and also like we don't want word to get out that like two Shichibukais were defeated by one dude. Like
yeah,
that would be bad for the government.
but yeah.
Um,
So
they're
Jinbei
kind of
is still a Shichibukai.
yeah, they're kind of
right.
just hoping that like maybe if we like lock him up for a little bit, he'll come around
Yeah.
because his insubordination against the government was very recent. It was in response to them declaring plans to execute Ace.
Hmm.
He thinks it's a bad idea to pick a fight with the Whitebeard pirates, and he has the reason to like Whitebeard. He says,
Yep. Um. But yeah, they get down there, and Ace has been taken away moments ago, but he recruits Jinbei, and he recruits Crocodile. Uh, I forget why Crocodile. What Crocodile says. Crocodile is basically like, oh yeah, I'm in here because like nothing interesting was on the outside, but if the Whitebeard pirates are going to war with the government, like that's pretty interesting, and I want to see that.
"Yeah." He's like, he says like, you know what? Maybe I could try to kill Whitebeard, and they're like, okay, well, like at least you can help us get out, and then we'll sort that out later.
Hmm.
And so they do.
Yep.
So he comes.
And then we get some really cool fights with I was loving Crocodile coming back and getting to see his powers again because they were all really cool. He does like the moisture pull thing on the door, and then
Uh-huh.
I don't know, it's just sand powers are cool.
Yeah, no, Crocodile is, I mean, yeah,
And it's just a cool
he's a cool
character design. Like he's got like the cigar, and he's just always nonchalant.
and the hook.
The
Yeah.
hook, yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
super cool. And then Jinbei looks like he's karate based. He's like punching people all the time.
He's got the Fishman karate.
Yeah.
Hmm.
um, so we get them, and then Blackbeard breaks into the prison, which
Yes.
is
Completely unrelated to Luffy being there.
yeah, he's got his
Um,
own deal for being there. He didn't,
Blackbeard has always got his own agenda. He's got his own
and
plans.
then he
He's a
says he's probably
schemer.
gonna get kicked out of the Shichibukai for doing whatever he's doing. Did we ever
Yeah.
figure out why he's there, like specifically? I don't think we did.
No, not yet.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But we do. Yeah, it's interesting that he says that he doesn't care that he's going to get kicked out of the Shichibukai because basically everything that he's done up until this point, at least to the best of our knowledge, has been to get into the Shichibukai.
So something that he's
Like,
already done. Well, maybe I don't know. Yeah, it's very interesting. Something he's just done or did in the past was while he was in the Shichibukai was something that he could only do while being in the Shichibukai. So
Hmm.
it's
he
interesting.
has no need to be in them somehow. So yeah, Blackbeard still remains mysterious.
Yeah, very mysterious.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, so he squares off. Well, he squares off with uh, he squares off with Magellan and gets his entire crew's ass beat. But
Yeah.
they have the antidote,
Uh-huh.
and then he recruits
Well, I think it
the
was
X Guard.
Shirulu who has the antidote, who just shows up and he's like, "Damn, if I hadn't shown up with the antidote, You
Yeah.
guys would be kind of
I thought
fucked
that
now.
was
And then
kind
that
of
one guy,
funny. Blackbeard almost got his like if I feel like if Blackbeard had show up with when Luffy had not been at the prison, like he would have just gotten destroyed by Magellan.
Probably. Yeah.
Interesting.
but yeah, there's one guy on like the crew of the Blackbeard pirates who he talks about fate a lot of the time. He's like, well, it was fate that like you would show up. So I don't know, kind
Hmm.
of weird, interesting. Um,
Um, but yeah, they recruit that guy. They meet Luffy. They kind of move past each other just because they don't need to fight, or Blackbeard's not there for
Luffy like
Luffy.
starts to square off with him, but then they're like, dude, Luffy, like you got to pick your battles. Like Ace is not like this guy might be responsible for Ace being in the situation that he's in, but like the clock is ticking. You
Yeah.
can't fight this guy and like try to save Ace.
Even if you
So
did beat him, you'd be extremely exhausted by the time you got to Ace.
exactly, yeah, because like Blackbeard is Shichibukai. I mean, we know that he's a Shichibukai at this point, so he must be really strong. I mean, he beat Ace, so we know that he's really strong.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
And then
so
we get I mean, I think it might have been before this, but we get Ivankov fighting Magellan, which I thought was a really cool fight. It
mhm,
was pretty short, I guess. We didn't get to see like everything in super detail, but get to see
yeah.
Ivankov's powers, which were pretty cool.
And then
Uh,
we also see Luffy do a little bit of a revenge match on Magellan
yep, which doesn't
with
last too long.
yeah, but it's nice to see him get some hits in with the assistance of Mr. Three because now that
Yes.
they're not on because before his fight was on the hot floor, so he couldn't have Mr. Three couldn't have made any like wax constructs to help him out. But now he gives him like some cool wax boxing gloves and some wax shoes.
Hmm.
Luffy looks a little ridiculous, but he's able to get some hits in.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
kind of nice. And I like this I like it when the devil fruits synergize. It's like
Hmm.
fun and cool. So
But then he turns it up to 11 and fucking
yeah.
uses
But
uses the super
Magellan's
poison.
no joke.
Yep. And then yeah, they get they get out. It's I guess it's just Crocodile and Jinbei steal the boat. Jinbei,
Oh, and Mr. One's with them too now.
yeah, Mr. One's with them, and Jinbei uses his fish powers, which is super cool because we haven't seen that before. I guess we saw a little bit with the mermaid. Cammy shows off her fish, like she can speak with fish. Um,
Hmm.
but Jinbei can as well, and as a fish person, which I guess is pretty rare. They mention,
Yeah.
or unheard of, I guess even. And they steal some boats, and with the help of uh,
Don't they fly off on Ivankov's head?
Yeah, they at first, so it's like they have because they were like, oh, we're just gonna get a boat and then get out of here. But then when they get out, there's no boats. They all just like back the fuck up.
mm,
They're just like, why would we even do that? We're just gonna shoot at them from afar. But then like uh, they like break down one of the doors and then they like get all of their heavy hitters. They get like Jinbei, Crocodile, and Mr. One, and then also Buggy. Just go on the door because Buggy's like, well, like it's probably safer with like the two Shichibukai guys, so I'm
yeah,
just gonna like go with them. And so they like go, they use the door as like a boat, basically like Jinbei's underwater, kind of like carrying them,
the
and they
David
get on one of the
Hasselhoff.
boats. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then they get on one of the boats and then they like basically take it over because they're really fucking strong. And like Jinbei like is in his element, he's in the water. Makes sense, he's a fisherman. So yeah, they take over the boat and then they're like, all right guys, like you gotta get on the boat now. And they just like they all get on Ivankov's head and then he does one
He
big
does a
old wink.
one hell wink. Yeah, that's what I loved
Yeah.
it. His wink powers were super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he just flies over and they're all on the ship.
Yep. Um, but yeah, not with the help, not without the help of Bon Clay turning into Magellan to open the doors. I was really confused. I was like,
Yes.
did I miss a page? Like, why is Magellan telling them to open the doors? And then I was like, oh, that makes sense because like the page after that, it's like Magellan outside saying, "Why are the doors opening?" I was like, am I like tripping right now? What's going on? Is this like a bad
Yeah.
translation?
Yeah.
um, but
Nope.
yeah,
It was our guy Bone Clay.
yeah, Bon Clay,
Yeah.
he's sacrificed himself to.
Sacrificing everything. This is the second time that he's like sacrificed in order to get Luffy to allow Luffy to escape.
I like
He did
I
the same
like
thing on Alabasta.
well, yeah, and also like he does it like Luffy and him go back and forth throughout the entire arc. Like he's like Luffy's like I'm not gonna be in your debt again, and then Bon Clay like does something to help Luffy. Luffy does something to help Bon Clay, and they go back and forth, and then like it culminates obviously with Bon Clay like yelling at Luffy to keep him alive or like bring him back alive, and then Luffy gets there, and apparently Luffy tells Ivankov to heal Bon Clay, but then Bon Clay like helps Luffy get out of like when he was healing, and then finally Bon like Luffy's like I'm not gonna be your dead again, and then it culminates with Bon Clay
Yeah,
getting them out. So like you said earlier, it's like the pinnacle of or like those tenets of friendship that they're trying to show off constantly, and like they're going back and forth with it, and
yeah,
that's hate to see
it's
it.
so good.
Hmm.
This like this moment makes Bon Clay like one of the best characters in One Piece.
Yeah,
It's so
honestly.
fucking good.
Yeah.
I love it.
um.
Um, yeah, so they get out. Pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, and then we get fucking Buggy turning into some kind of leader. But like
Captain Buggy.
they mentioned like Buggy like just kind of has a natural tendency to like get people to follow him.
Yeah,
Um.
very interesting.
Yeah, Buggy was kind of I think like he still seemed like comic relief most of the time.
Uh-huh.
Like he's a lot less strong than
He's
Luffy.
definitely nowhere near as like physically
He's
powerful as
definitely
any of the
more
rest of
strong than
them.
he was before, but like when he was
Yeah.
like scared of the Blue Gory, and then Luffy just like completely just does not care about the Blue Gory.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's like he's he's weak as fuck.
But then he also
Buggy
shows off,
Buggy is just a master of weaseling his way
yeah,
Yeah,
through
exactly.
situations.
yeah, but we also
He's
get to
got
see him
yeah,
use
he's
his super cannonball again, which is super cool.
uh-huh.
That thing looks scary.
And like Buggy's like, "Hey, do you remember like my Buggy ball?" And then Luffy's like, "No."
Yeah, that was so funny. I think I Snapchatted you both that panel. Where it's just Buggy looking very defeated in one tiny little panel after he says, "Nope, I don't remember it." It was a great panel.
Yeah, it's good shit.
um, yeah, and then he like renames it. Well, he's like, "Oh yeah, I kind of remember," and then he just renames it to something else.
Yeah. It's
um,
like the Muggy ball.
the Muggy Ball, yeah.
Yeah. But now Buggy's plan, he's like at first he's like, "Oh man, like wait, you guys are going to Marineford, like the fucking the 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 seat of like the Marines' power, like that's where all the admirals are and like that's where they're going to execute Ace and like they're going to gather all of their strength there." Um he's like, "No, fuck that." But then he's like, "You know what? Like I've gotten this far just like bullshitting my way through life. Like if I can like get all of these guys behind me, and they're already like they're already super grateful for Buggy for like leading them and like like allowing them to escape and stuff. So it's just like maybe, just maybe, I can kill Whitebeard and then become a Yonko. And like Buggy has got some ambitions. Like he's not the bravest guy, so he can't always achieve them. But at this point, he's feeling himself.
Hmm. He
Yeah.
is definitely feeling himself. Maybe a little too much.
But he's got a lot of guys behind him, so maybe
He's a
there's
dreamer.
safety in numbers.
He's
Yeah,
definitely a dreamer, which is you got to be a dreamer.
yeah,
This entire story is going to culminate with Luffy getting One Piece and just Bucky stealing it.
yeah. When Buggy becomes the Pirate King, that's how the series is gonna end.
Luffy's gonna somehow lose interest or like become the Pirate King and then just be like, this isn't what it cracked up to be. Well, I don't know. They make a good comment about the Pirate King in these arcs where it's
Yeah,
like the Pirate
yeah,
King isn't the strongest guy on the sea, or he's not like the ruler of the seas. He's just the freest guy on the seas. And I was like,
yeah,
that's a cool comment because like it makes sense. Like if you were the Pirate King, you wouldn't have to worry about anything. You could just do what you want anytime you want. You don't have to worry about whatever you have to do. You're just the freest guy. And I was like, that's
Yep.
cool.
exactly. Because that's kind of like the entire conflict between the pirates and the Marines. Like as the series has gone on and the Marines have become like more well defined as like in the start of the series they were kind of just like enemies of the pirates, but now it's kind of like they represent more of like this like um, kind of like an absolutist view of just like authority, I guess.
Hmm.
And like that they're like that order is like the most important thing, and these pirates like threaten that. And so even though that not all of them are bad, um, they can't just be allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. That puts people at risk.
Yep.
So it's definitely like an order versus chaos kind of thing between the Marines and the pirates. And I like that it's not good versus evil, it's order versus chaos.
Yeah.
Because like the pirates are probably like more like, if it was good versus evil, they'd probably be more evil, because they don't really give a shit about like doing the right thing. At least the Marines are kind of like trying to do the right thing, but it's just like in order to do that, they're restricting the freedom of so many people, and like the system itself is just, as we've seen in like Shabandi Archipelago, is like completely corrupt and how it's like completely just propping up. So and yeah, so order versus chaos
Yeah.
is kind
You've
of
got really good people and really
makes
bad
sense.
people
Like
on
that's
both
an extension
both
of that.
sides.
The Pirate King is just the freest man.
Yep.
Pirates.
Hmm. Yeah. So next time, I'm sure the next arc that we do will cover Ace. What we see with Ace.
Yep.
Um,
Sure will.
I'm looking forward to that. Um,
Yep.
I
Because
just
we
I
left them off. They're basically just rolling up to Marineford, which is where all of the Marines are. Oh,
yeah.
and Ace. So
Um,
We also see the Marines are starting to all report to the Marine Ford
yeah.
in anticipation for this all-out war with the Whitebeard pirates.
They said like every
hmm
vice admiral or higher, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
yeah, and they also like don't know what the fuck the Whitebeard pirates are doing. They like they were tracking them. They were like doing some surveillance on them, but somehow they like lost the pirates, and they're like, okay, we have no idea when the Whitebeard pirates are going to strike or anything like that.
Didn't they also
So
say like there's like a ship that came and just like appeared and won't catch any hails or something like that?
yeah, there's definitely some shenanigans going on. And also it's like how are our boys who just escaped from Impel down? Like they had to go through this whole thing to get the door open, but
How are they? Yeah,
the
how are they
Marines
gonna
are
get?
like,
Yeah,
yeah, if the Marines don't open the door, then they're just going to be stuck in that triangle for of like the currents for a really long time. So we'll see how they get in.
hmm. I just want to like quickly shout out like the art was so good for these three chapters. There were so many times where I was just like just in awe at like how well drawn and like the color obviously isn't original, but like it just added so much and just like so much character was in so many of these.
Yeah, and Oda's designs are just like I
Yeah,
love
the
Oda's character
designs are all like
designs.
Ivankov looks like fucking Freddie Mercury or like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a Rocky Horror kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Hmm.
awesome. And then like you
It's great.
Jinbei is super cool looking. Um, like almost like a samurai, but he's like karate focused. I don't know. I thought Magellan looked cool. He kind of reminded me of Gecko Moria. Looks very spooky, but also less uh Dracula, I guess. More something
Yeah,
Less
else.
kind of
goofy.
Yeah,
more like
less
hell
goofy.
themed,
Mm,
I
yeah,
guess,
yeah, he definitely looked hell
because
themed.
like the whole thing with I mean like the like Impel Down is kind of, I mean, each of the layers is like the something hell, and it's kind of like, it's like hell and how it's like classically portrayed as like having layers and stuff
Yeah.
with like Dante's Inferno. So it kind of makes sense that he has like devilish kind of vibes.
Yes.
Um, good, good theming, Oda. I
Hmm.
appreciate it.
I mean, and then also like all the guards were like hell themed. Like you have the one guy who's like
Yeah.
Anubis. I think it was Anubis who's like a hell themed Egyptian guy. You've got
Uh-huh.
Sadie-chan who's like in like a Halloween devil costume, and then
Yeah,
you've got
yeah.
like the little like cherub devil guy that does the blue gory things. So like
Hmm.
they're
Uh-huh.
all like almost like classic devil representations, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like the art was so awesome for these chapters. So many of the fight scenes were super cool to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, the backgrounds are really great too. I like
Backgrounds were
how
so
Impel
cool.
Down, like, despite being a building, like each of the layers kind of has its own flavor to it. So we get to see a lot of different like environments, even though it's just
Right.
in one
It would
building.
have been real boring if it was just brick
Yeah,
the
If
and
every
whole
of
level
course
was
Oda
level
wouldn't do
one,
that.
yeah. If every level was
Oda would
level one, it'd
never.
be really boring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was cool because earlier you were saying how Impel Down, you were worried that it was going to be like Ennie's Lobby 2, but
Hmm.
like it's so different from Ennie's Lobby because Ennie's Lobby is like so focused on like the one-on-one fights, but there are like barely any one-on-one fights in Impel Down. It's more about like the group and like everyone kind of like it's like gathering a team because it's like we're breaking each of these
Breaking
guys
in
out
and
of
then breaking
prison.
out.
Yeah, and like
Hmm.
it's more like an adventure of like learning all of like the different layers, and then also like gathering a team, and then like the culmination of the arc is not a one-on-one fight like it is in most
Yeah.
arcs.
I
It's
love I
kind of
love
just
how
like
Luffy goes in by himself and then just comes out with a fucking army. He's got like
yeah,
two ex Shichibukai and just like crazy strong people with him now. That's
that is
hilarious.
classic
His
Luffy of
team
just
is
being a
stacked.
Yeah,
magnetic
his team
personality.
is real strong.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
He can have the devil fruit that makes him into rubber, but he can his real power is just being able to make anyone be his friend.
Yeah, the real devil fruit was the friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
um yeah, I'm very excited for the next few chapters. I feel like I say that every week, but I'm excited for the next few
Well,
chapters.
that's what's great about One Piece is that it's
There's
just
so many
it's
chapters to be excited about.
yeah, and it just there's never yeah it Oda has like my more than like any other creator. Oda has my faith. You know, he's like let not. There have been so many times where he just has not let me down. Like he consistently delivers. So how could you not be excited for more One Piece?
Yep.
Do you know the chapters we're doing next time?
Oh yeah, let me. I know which because it's not going to be like a cluster of arcs like this time. Pull up.
No, we got a pretty exciting one coming up.
Oh yeah. I mean, with all of this like built up, like how could it not be? Okay, so it's 550 to 597.
Okay, 47 chapters. This was like what, 50 something, 60s that we
I
just
think
did?
it like
It's
it was
489
like a
to
little under. I think it was like yeah, it was like
550.
59 chapters.
Yeah,
So it's a little shorter, but
but I mean it's all one arc, so
yeah. Well, it's like yeah, it's like one, and then you know how there's like post Ennie's Lobby. There's kind of just
yeah.
like a
Okay,
wrap
yeah,
up. It's
gotcha,
kind of similar
gotcha.
because yeah.
All right,
So
I'm excited.
we got some yeah. Looking forward to next time for sure.
Looking forward to next time. All right, well that'll do it for us. Signing off. See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye bye.